Hey, what's up, guys? Kyle Gallon back with the video. And today I want to talk about Xbox Game Pass and why it's a better deal, and what place or why Microsoft's actually beating Sony and Nintendo at this point in sales. Reason why Xbox Game Pass there, I think Microsoft saw it there. Microsoft did saw the direction where Sony was actually going to go, or they actually saw what the direction gaming is actually going at this point there. They saw it since 2017 there, and they saw the games are going to go up in price there, so they mostly made a subscription service there called Xbox Game Pass there in 2017, and then it mostly grew over the years, and it was gaining more and more players there. And mostly, even if they did rise up the Game Pass to $20 or not $20, but $15 to $20 there, the mostly Game Pass still grew over time. But reason why, if you're paying $20 for a month there, you're getting access for all those games for free. That's the one thing Microsoft has on Game Pass there. Microsoft has this on Game Pass there. You're only paying $20 per month there for getting all those games for free. You have fully access to Game Pass there, and that's what it is there. And what Sony and Nintendo have been doing for the last couple months there, or technically, what Sony and Nintendo have been doing. Yes, they've been raising up their fucking prices there. Nintendo Switch there, with the Nintendo Switch 2 being announced there, putting Mario Kart World at $80 there. Who really wants to pay $80 for the game there for Mario Kart World? Yes, there's going to be some people there who might buy Mario Kart World, but this game will not sell as well compared to I think the Nintendo Switch 2 will not sell as well compared to Xbox Game Pass there, mostly paying $20 for a month. I think Xbox there might get a little bit more console sales coming out this Christmas because of the tariffs that are mostly going on to these consoles there. Mostly Nintendo there, mostly putting their stuff in Vietnam there, and actually, and mostly the Vietnam prices there might be raising the bar even higher and higher, and that's what it is there. And plus, mostly putting a tax on the Nintendo Switch 2. Right now, I think it's like $500 there for the Nintendo Switch 2. A lot of people were speculating it's going to be $550. I do not see that actually happening with the Nintendo Switch 2, but the tariffs are actually affecting all these companies there, even Microsoft there. They're affecting all these companies, including Microsoft there. But Microsoft there, putting Game Pass in there, and you have that access there. Microsoft's being more consumer, and fucking Sony and Nintendo is. Nintendo, they're like, oh yeah, thank you for buying our game system there. Thank you for the $80. We're mostly gonna have a more affecting there. Sony there, paying The Last of Us Part 2 remake there. The game should have been $30 at this point, because this game is not worth $109. Oh wait, what do you get out of the $109 thing for Sony there for The Last of Us Part 2? You get nothing but dumb posters there. Nobody really cares about fucking posters at this point. Nobody cares about posters. Nobody cares about posters in video games. Sports and other stuff, yes. But in video games, no. Nobody really cares about posters there. And then also a thank you letter from Neil Druckmann there. Like, that's just going a little bit insane there. Except, like, putting, like, possibly like a statue or something like that. That might be worth $109. That might be worth $109 if you put like a statue or something there, or a special controller, or a special PS5 there. Then it'd be then I might see it be $109. But posters and a thank you letter, Fuck no. That is fucking bullshit. I don't know what Sony's fucking doing there. That's fucking like a high thing. It's a fucking ripoff. And plus, the digital version of the game there is $100. That's fucking bullshit on Sony's end there. Sony, I don't know what the fuck you're doing on that there, but that is mostly anti-consumer there. And they're like, oh, it's the tariffs there. The tariffs are mostly affecting us. Yes, there. But Sony and Nintendo, they're like, oh yeah, we can just milk these guys dry. We can milk these guys dry and not get them the best experience there. And that's why Nintendo and Sony are being anti-consumer on this. And this is why lately Microsoft is gaining more players there. More people mostly are buying Xboxes there. More people are buying Xboxes there because Microsoft is providing you a much better experience than Sony and Nintendo are right now. They're providing you a much better experience through Xbox Game Pass there. They're like, okay, I don't have to pay $20 per month. I get to play the new titles of games there, games that never came out, possibly play those games before they get released there, play the games there before they get released there. I have mostly this access to Game Pass there, mostly like Doom of the Dark Ages. You get to play it before the actual release there. You get to play that game before the actual release, and that's why it was called a day one there. So, yeah, Microsoft is actually gaining more and more players there from it. And plus also putting those games on PlayStation there, they're gaining more revenue there because they're like, oh, we can just put the games are already dead on Xbox and PC onto PlayStation there. Let's get that audience there. Let's get that audience going, and we'll see how we're going to push the narrative there. How we're going to push the narrative there. Oh yeah, we can just put our games are like pretty much dead on Xbox and PC over to new rival platforms there. Like Forza 5, that game has been dead for years, and it's been brought up again there when PlayStation picked it up there, or picked up the IP. And that's the only reason why Forza 5 came up again. Because before that there, like, it's been on a hiatus for like, 3 years? There? No, not even 3 years. 4 years, technically. It's been on a hiatus for 4 years. And then it got brought up recently, like this year. Saying, oh yeah, it's coming over to PlayStation. So Microsoft's technically getting bank off of those games there. They're technically getting bank. They're like, oh, we can just put it at $70 there on PlayStation. And yeah, we can just put Forza 5 $70 on PlayStation. We got you suckers. And then you have to pay an extra $15 for the account there. Yeah, so you're technically paying $175 there, $175 in total there, because you have to pay $70 to buy the game up front there, and then you have to get a Microsoft account there to buy a Microsoft account there and make $15 for that there to make the game run there. And I won't be surprised if they mostly put more Xbox titles there and put Microsoft accounts on those games there, and it'll be pretty hard to access a lot of those games. Minus maybe if the people honestly do have the money there, might actually just fucking do it. But people honestly do not have the money. They're not gonna. They might say, "Screw this! I'm not gonna play this on the PlayStation," and they might just go play a PlayStation game at minimum cost. But and Microsoft is seeing this there, and they are like, "Ooh, these games are getting popular on our rivals' platform. We're just gonna milk it. We're gonna milk these games there to make it more profitable for us there." And that's what it is there. And plus Sony there. Sony is going to lose its crown at this point. The way it's going, Sony is going to lose its crown. And I think one company there, the guy who's honestly in last place, I'm going to say this before I'm out of here. The guy who's in last place is going to take over and knock Sony off his throne. There. Off its throne. I think Microsoft will be the one that's going to knock Sony off its throne. Yes, the guy who's in last place is going to knock it off his throne, because guess what Sony's doing. They're copying Microsoft there. They're copying Microsoft there, and it's gonna be they're gonna get thrown off, and we're gonna see Sony get dethroned. So yep. Comment, rate, my response to Tuesday Bros. We like Black Bros. Please subscribe. Hit the notification to see uploads and live streams. Our response to Tuesday Bros. I'll carry on. Out of peace.